Well, hi folks, 2nd of April now, so time to sow a bit more stuff. I'm going to sow some lettuce, some sunflowers, and I'm going to sow a few peas in the gutter, as I usually do. I've got a few more lengths of gutter, but I'll just show you how we do that and explain why. But anyway, I'm just going to start off with some lettuce this year. I've decided to grow a few different varieties this year, a few more from some different companies as well, because I was quite disappointed last year with the company I used for my Little Gems. They didn't turn out very well at all, and the same company, it was the same company that provided me with the shallots as well, so I've ditched them this year and I've gone to Marshall's, because they're always they might be a bit more expensive, but you get a heck of a lot more seeds, so they're probably more economical, to be honest. So I'm just going to be growing, as usual, Little Gem. I've got a new lettuce called Record, which looks like it's a Lollo Beyonder type. We've got another one called Can, which it says it's an Endive. Another frilly one. And then tried and tested multi-green mix, which is a mixture of red and green, really densely packed, loose-leaved heads, which are fantastic. So, all pretty much the same. I've just got some little 20 module seed trays. So I'm just going to plant 10 of each variety for a first go. So that couldn't be easier. I won't do them all, obviously. And then we'll get on and do the peas. So all I've done, God, you do get a lot of seeds. I bet there's a tablespoon of seeds in there for £2.50. That's about 5 or 6 times more than you would get. So yeah, it might be a little bit more expensive, but the volume you get is absolutely crazy. I could probably do I don't know how many seeds it says. There must be literally thousands in there. Anyway, like I said, just got some bog standard multi-purpose compost. I made a little bit of an indentation in, and because I've got so many seeds, there's no need to be picky. So I'm going to put 2 or 3 in each little impression, and then thin out to 1 when they've started to sprout. Because there's enough seeds here to last me a lifetime by the looks of it. So that's the way. It was a bigger packet. There was a packet for what, about £1.50, and then there was a packet with about 4 times as much in for £2.50. So I thought, why not? So I'll do that one. Let's have a slow record we're doing in this next one, which is just a green one. Because if you look at how many seeds there are in that, and how much were there? They were £2 something. I don't think I'll be planting 2 or 3. There's about a thimble full in this one. So I know Little Gem are always been cheap variety, but you certainly get a lot for your buck. I think I can feel a bit of rain coming on, so I better get a wriggle on. So again, just 2 or 3 seeds in each one. I can guarantee if you only put 1 in each one, it wouldn't germinate, but now I've put 3 in, 3 will germinate. That's just sod's law, in it, so that couldn't be easier. I'll do that later. Just going to riddle a little bit of compost over, and that's that. Give it a bit of a watering in, put it inside under a bit of a propagator, no heat, just the inside warmth, and then once it starts to germinate indoors, I'll put it into the greenhouse when the frosts have all passed, because it's been really cold the last few days. I think tonight's the last frost for a while, so it should be alright in a week or two's time. So that's the lettuce. I'll do the other one after, no need to film that. So these are the gutter peas. So the reason we do this is basically just to give them a head start. We set them off in a gutter full of compost. Any old compost, doesn't matter what it is. If you look at this is the strangest looking compost I've ever bought. It's some multi-purpose with John in it. It looks like sawdust with sand in it. So, I mean, I'm all for reducing peat and stuff like that, but you've got to draw the line somewhere. I've never seen anything like this. But it'll probably grow things as well as anything else, so if that's the case, then good on it. Yeah, so like I said, the reason I grow them in gutters like this is to get them off to a good head start, because you can germinate them at your will, in heat if you like, in a greenhouse, so they're not being planted into cold, wet, damp soil, and you know, in the frost like it has now, because there's a tendency when it's cold like that for the seeds just to rot off, and also for the mice to get it. That's the main thing for me, because if I plant it like this, by the time I get to plant them out, there's no peas actually left, which is what the mice are actually looking to dig up. So I can just slide it out, and then they get off to a head start. So again, the pea of choice every year is Hurst Greenshaft. And I'm also going to grow some very dwarf variety this year in this new thing I'm trying, the square metre gardening. So it's only, this is a dwarf variety called Meteor, and they only grow 16 inches tall. So we'll see, I'll cram a load in a square metre and see what, excuse me, and see how many we get. So anyway, so what we do with this, fill a bit of a gutter up like that to within about an inch of the top. And with the peas, let's have a look. I don't do that, spacing them out 2 inches apart rubbish. I just sort of chuck them in, probably about, I don't know, an inch apart or so, hopefully, probably a little bit closer maybe. Right, so I've got quite a lot of these to plant, so obviously I don't want to be chucking them in. This is a little short 4-foot section. I'm growing a 10-foot row, so I've got another 6-foot section. So I think that will do for that one. Should be thick enough. And again, it couldn't be easier. No need to put any fine riddled soil on, because peas are such a big seed, they'll push up through anything. Just fill your gutter up to the top, so they're about an inch below the surface. Give them a little bit of a water in. I wouldn't put too much water in, because you don't need a great deal to germinate, and if it does get cold, the wetter they are, the more prone they are to rotting before they germinate. But if you do them in the warmth of a house or something, I'll put them in the porch probably just to set off, and that should, like I said, give them a head start. So that's that job done. So I've got a lot more of these to do. But basically that's how the peas are set off. Just give them a little bit of water in, and when they start to germinate, into the greenhouse will go. And then when you get maybe, well, you can, so I've seen people leave them until they're 6 inches tall, but once they've got a few leaves on and about 3 inches tall, you just make a trench in your garden and then just slide sections of this out into your sections. They root really quickly, and off they go. You're off to a flying start. So let's put this out of the way. And finally, I'm going to sow a few sunflowers that I kept from my giant sunflowers I grew last year. I kept the seeds off one that had the massive head. So maybe all these will be massive headed ones. I always thought sunflowers were sort of really frost tender, but apparently they're not. Apparently they're tough as old boots. So let's just say, so like, again, because sunflowers are such a big seed, you don't need any kind of fine compost whatsoever. Any old stuff will do, which is good, because this stuff certainly isn't fine. And they've got, they say on the packet you can sow seeds in this stuff. I didn't use this for me lettuces, and I used some other stuff, but I'd like to see people grow things like rocket, which have minute seeds in stuff like this. Right, so it could be easy. I've got a big bag full of these. They look quite plump seeds, so they should be viable. If they're not, then it's nothing lost. Didn't cost me anything. I'm just going to stick my finger in, I think, maybe about an inch. And because I've got hundreds of seeds, I'm sure I can risk putting 2 in without breaking the bank. And we'll see how we get on this year with these seeds. Found it fascinating last year, the ones with the giant heads, and then there were some that were really tall. Some got to about 13 feet tall, which is the tallest I've ever grown one. And I've kept the seeds from those, even though they weren't very good. So I'll probably sow a few of those and see if they actually come true to the variety they came off, or if they're all just a mix again. Some with big heads, some tall ones. because the bees will have cross-pollinated them all, I would imagine. So that's about it. That's all I'm planting at the moment. 2nd of April. I might set a second batch of spring onions off, and you could also set things off like rocket and stuff like that, but for me, still a bit chilly. So that's about it, folks. A few peas, bit of lettuce, and a few sunflowers. See you later.